Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to make a video giving a last shout out for the Circling into Dialogos weekend happening this coming weekend. It's going to happen Saturday and Sunday, the 1st and 2nd of October. So just in a couple of days. And this is our fourth Dialectic into Dialogos, Circling into Dialogos course. It's a work in progress. It's taught by myself, Christopher, and John Vervaeke. And it is, you could say, the culminating practice is what we call dialectic into dialogos. And it's essentially a practice that is the culmination of a whole ecology of practices. In John's language, he considers that the dialectic into dialogos practice is like the psychotechnology of psychotechnologies, in that it encompasses all the skills of awareness, of contemplation, of listening, of speaking your voice, of all kinds of cognitive, emotional exercises, all the machinery of profundity, of awakening. All are culminated and used in this practice. And so the weekend, right, is an experiential deep dive, right, into the whole ecology of practices culminating in dialectic of the dialogos. We start off with a practice of mindfulness. Then we go into philosophical contemplation. John walks everyone through a way of seeing what he calls the Neoplatonic levels of reality, right? How to imaginatively alter your perception such that these different levels of reality can disclose themselves in front of your eyes. There's that skill. And then we spend like 2-3 hours diving deep into the circling practice, which is the inner subjective fellowship intimacy, right? The back and forth, the auto-poetic reciprocal opening that happens through intimacy. And we would get really grounded in those skills and open up that experience. And then we go into a philosophical exercise, right, where we take a paragraph of a philosopher or something deeply spiritual or philosophical, and we do slow reading, and we go through an exercise of deeply contemplating it with each other, right? There's a whole step process of really zeroing in and speaking the voice of the author, profoundly confronting what the author was really getting at, right? And even furthering it and deepening it and identifying with it in some sense. And then we spend the rest of the weekend after that into dialectic, into dialogos, which is where we will take something like a virtue, right? And we will enter into dialectic about it, right? A process of where one person's like proposes makes a proposal, and another person is the midwife, draws the thinker out, draws the proposer out to the full meaning of the proposition is allowed to come forward and deepen. And then everyone goes, like person by person, and the next person goes and makes a proposal and is listening. And back and forth. There's a whole set of instructions that will only really make sense after all these layers of practice that you are guided through the weekend. It's a phenomenal course. I have just been blown away by the people who show up. First of all, it's just, I would say it's worth the experience just for the quality of the people who are attracted to this work and who show up. I mean, it's just a weekend filled with people who are deeply, deeply into it, into being, into their own growth and development, into the greater sense of meaning of the universe, both at a personal level and a meta level. So you don't have to have any philosophical background. You don't have to have any previous trainings. You don't have to have read any philosophers or any of that kind of stuff. It's not philosophy in the academic sense. It's philosophy in the ancient sense as a way of life, right? So it's a genuine, deep, philosophical, spiritual, psychological, ontological practice. There'll be a lot of people who've taken all the other three. There'll be a lot of new people, and this should just be an amazing experience. And John, Chris, and I will be sharing it with you, right? So most of what we're going to be doing is giving you and having you be clear on what the instructions are. And then you're going to break up into groups and pairs and different configurations and go deep into the practice. And then when it's done, then we'll come out and then we'll answer questions. We'll examine insights. We'll talk through difficulties that came up, and then we'll go back into the practice. And then you'll practice in your groups, and you come back to the main group, and John, Chris, and myself will elicit what the experience was like and what there is to get out of it. And so it's not going to be a lot of lecture. We have tons of videos on my channel and John's channel, and many other channels of the philosophical underpinnings of this, right? And some of the theoretical stuff. This weekend is all about an experiential, deep, deep experiential practice, right? It's about living it. And John, Chris, and I will be joining it with you. We'll be practicing right along with you. And this is a work in progress. So you are part of something that we are currently developing. We're adjusting things and constantly fine-tuning them. And so you're really part of something that's a genuine work in progress. And I think that you'll probably agree with me. At the end of that, you're going to feel like you're part of something that is at the precipice of something extraordinary, that could go, like you could say, could spread and go quite large. And the implications of this work are so inspiring. One of the things that we're working on at the Circling Institute, and John and Chris are joining me in this development, which is our next thing that the Circling Institute is really going to be focusing in on, is having what I'm calling a digital town square of an ecology of practices, where somebody will pay a minor fee to have a membership in it, and then throughout the day we're going to have layers of ecology of practices on all hours of the day, that we will be designing with John's help in a layered way to really put this work into our daily lives and to develop the community and really, really make an attempt to do this in a real way, making it available to in our daily lives to anybody who wants to participate and who is open and interested in this way of being in reality. All right. So the links to register are below. The cost is $250, and you have until Friday to register. So if you're thinking about it, I hope, and you're interested in this work, I hope you jump in and give yourself the gift. It is definitely will be a beginning and open up horizons of possibility that can only enrich us. All right. Thank you so much.